What up, bro? So this video is for you, for Jamarcus. I really hope I said your name correctly. And yeah, I don't know what you may be going through, but hang in there. Your comment said, "Yo, can you do one on being lonely?" I think you meant to say some people might say that it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. You could work on your craft. So I got some notes to keep me on track because my mind tends to go everywhere. So I got pros and cons of being lonely, right? So I'm gonna go over some of these and go into my own personal thoughts on them as well as just life experiences. So number one, the obvious pro, right, of being alone is you get to self-reflect. It provides you time to think deeply about life, personal goals, and to add to that, like, you get to know who you are. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people, they don't know who they are outside of the group. They identify with the group so much that, like, they feel as soon as they're not with a group, it's almost like distasteful to them. Like, they can't not be in a group setting. They always, like, you could think about people even that always feel like they have to be in a relationship. As soon as they break up, they got a partner right away, like the same week or the following week. They don't go too long of being alone, so they only know how they are in relationships, you know. And a lot of times in relationships, people in general on both sides of the fences, both genders, they end up being so self-sacrificial for the sake of the other. I saw a post the other day that was like, I've been making sure other people are good for so long, but now I got to make sure that I'm good. I got to check on me. I've been checking on enough people, something like that. So anyways, let's go through some more of these pros. Encourages reliance on oneself rather than others. You don't know what you're capable until you have to pull yourself out of something, right? When you're calling and nobody's answering the phone, it's like, who do I call now? You know. Let's see, creativity boost. I've written 300 songs. I could honestly say if I was always in a collective or in a pack, like, I wouldn't have wrote as many songs as I did. I spent a lot of alone time, a lot of reflection time. Alone time doesn't ensure that you're going to improve as a person, because if you spend all your alone time on PS3, PS4, like Xbox 360, whatever, you know what I mean, Nintendo Switch, I don't know, like, obviously you're not going to grow as a person. Like, my personal time is spent with personal development, videos, podcast, books, seminars, researching content that makes me a better person, right? I binge watch content that makes me better. That is my form of entertainment. That's how I entertain myself, is self-improvement. I'm so glad that that's my normal. I know to some people that would be odd. So the benefits for somebody like me being alone is like, I get to watch content that's going to make me better. A lot of conversations are not actually productive. A lot of conversations consist of, hey, what you doing, how you been, what you up to, what's up, yo, like, what are you doing? Certain text messages I don't even answer. Like, when somebody be like, yo, like, on text, I don't even, you're probably about to waste my time with something like trivial, something meaningless, like, or if someone texts me, they're like, yo, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I don't know. And a lot of people scrutinize my viewpoint on this, because it's like, they be like, yo, that's just how humans start interactions. And it's like, I get that's how people start, but you probably don't care what I'm doing. It was probably your lead up, your follow up to your next question, which is, what do you want from me? Do you want to borrow money? Do you want to hang out? Do you want to, like, let's say I want to go to the basketball court. This always puzzled me as a kid. I never text somebody to ask you what you're doing. It's more like, yo, I'm going to the court at like 4 p.m. Bringing my ball, I'm shooting. I'll be by myself, but yo, you're welcome to come if you want to come along. I don't need to know what you're doing to invite you to the basketball court. So I don't know what it is about human interactions that we feel like we must first know what the person is doing before we get to the point of why we even message them in the first place. When I message people to the best of my ability, I just get straight to the point. Some people are offended by that because they rather you ask them how they're doing. You know what I mean? Personally, if someone was gonna ask me for $20 on Cash App, I don't want you to fluff me up like you care how I'm doing. Like, I'd rather you just get to the point. You know what I mean? And plus, if you ask me how I'm doing, but it's been 10 years since we spoke, it's like, come on, man. Like, why are you asking me that? Asking me how I'm doing and trying to, like, fake a genuine conversation, the flow of a natural, normal conversation. You're trying to fake that to try to compensate for the fact that you've been absent in my life for the better part of 12 years, haven't even heard your voice in 18 years. So the text message is like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, okay, good. Now that that's established, hey, can I borrow $25? No. And if you would have led with that, it still would have been no. Don't think that you asking me how I'm doing is gonna lead to me cash apping you. You know what I mean? Because which I did a video on that, by the way. You guys could go to my channel to see, like, here's how you get a loan from a friend. Here's how you get people saying yes to you wanting to borrow money from them. But anyways, so other pros, you get reduced social pressure. No need to conform to a group or expectations, right? Focus on personal growth, deeper self-awareness, freedom of choice, blah, blah, blah. Let's skip some of this because I want to go into my actual thoughts. Appreciation for relationships. It makes you value meaningful connections more. You see the top of my screen? Yeah, I do believe that. Okay. Opportunity to reset, strengthen resilience, avoidance of toxic relationships, privacy. Let's talk about that word toxic. We always think someone else is toxic. You got to know when you're the red flag. I was the red flag, man. You know what I'm saying? My personal growth, if you guys are interested in the story, I think it started when 3 women said the same thing about me. And there were negative traits too. They said you're controlling, you're this, you're that. I went to go research what are the attributes of a controlling person, what are the attributes of, and my self-development journey started because there were people that I really cared about that viewed me negatively. And I know how basic human psychology works. If someone views you negatively enough, it's a matter of time before they cut you off. It doesn't matter that you're their mother, you're their father. I know parents are devastated when they get cut off by their own children, but don't think because you're the parent that you won't get cut off. And maybe this is why people should isolate themselves, at least to take their personal development journey serious and really understand basic human psychology. How are you affecting people? One of my favorite quotes that makes me think about psychology, right? Everyone brings joy to a room either by entering it or by leaving it. So either people are excited that you entered or they're celebrating your exit, right? And we all know people that no one's excited when they're around. We're excited when they leave. But everyone brings joy to the room either by entering it or by leaving it. So I can honestly say when I was more toxic, than I am now, and I still have my traits that I'm trying to get rid of, man. But when I was pretty toxic, I could say that I didn't necessarily bring joy being in the room. You know what I mean? So anyways, freedom to be yourself when you're by yourself, right? That's obvious. You get time to heal, strengthen spirituality. All right, here's the cons. Loneliness could feel deeply distressing and isolating. Increased anxiety. Lack of support may lead to feelings of insecurity. Risk of depression, that's a big one, right? Weakened immune system. This is a interesting study on loneliness. Studies have linked to chronic loneliness could lead to poorer health. I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? Poor decision making, right? When you're the only one that authorizes your decisions, you're in an echo chamber within yourself. You're gonna sanction every decision you make. It's just automatically authorized by you, and you have no one to check your thinking. Which I'm gonna get into some other things such as, how we can't handle scrutiny well and stuff like that. We don't handle it well because we always take it as a personal attack when someone's tell us what we could be doing better. And sometimes it is an attack. You know what I mean? I was watching an Alex Hormozy video the other day when someone was like, yeah, I don't like the way you live your life. I think it's unbalanced. And he said, what part of my life is unbalanced? Is it the money? You can't call me broke because I got a lot of money. Is that my relationship? I'm happily married and we're good together. Is it my business? I'm excelling in business, They're like, yeah, I just don't like your life and how you live it. And then he's like, well, good. I don't like your life either. And I would not swap lives with you. And now that we have that established, you don't have to live my life and I don't have to live yours. I don't like your life either. If I liked your life, I'd be living it, which is, it was a heated debate that he had at a get together, which, the holidays are here, by the way, Christmas and Thanksgiving. I don't understand why we do have toxic family members that we barely see. And they're going to use this opportunity that they only see you twice a year, as an opportunity to like weaponize their contentment for you and how you're not good enough and you should do. It's like, bro, come on, man. Put the differences aside. This should be the time for reconciliation, by the way, and people are going to use this as an opportune time to try to jam a theology down your throat or a way of living or a way of thinking, So anyways, it could be difficult forming relationships. If you spend so much time alone, you could be so socially awkward. I actually sometimes, as good as I am verbally, sometimes adjusting to the group, I could have those difficulties. Sometimes I send 10-minute voice clips to people. Sometimes I forget that could be a big deal to somebody who doesn't have the time or doesn't care to have the time for 10-minute voice clips, because it's like, bro, if you thought I was going to listen to that, right? I have very few friends where it's like it's permissible to send 10-minute voice clips to. because they love me enough to, like, you know what I mean? Plus the conversations are engaging enough to them where it's no big deal. You know what I mean? So, but some people it's a big deal. So, anyways, loneliness could amplify sensitivity to exclusion. That could be the case because, like, you know, you're not socializing often, so you don't know how to deal with social cues or when people reject you, right? Or it's like, you know, being a salesman. If thousands of people have told you no, you've become immune to the word no. And now you're not so desperate for a sale. And then, like, maybe, like, being, like, I feel like everyone should get into sales, man. It'll teach you how to socialize. It'll teach you how to deal with social cues. It'll teach you about tonality, how to talk to people. It'll teach you so much that you could take and use that in your interday, you know, your day-to-day relationships, your intimate relationships, your marriages. Being a salesman will make you a better person. I'm convinced that, like, you know, you start taking some high-end sales courses, seeing it all the way through, and start banging out some phone calls, like cold calling people, you know, hundreds of times, where people are hanging up on you, saying "F you," and you're forced to control your demeanor because you don't want to lose your job, and then all of a sudden that becomes your baseline of reality. You're just naturally stoic over time, and you understand human motivation. I can't even. I don't want to make this video about sales because it's more about pros and cons of loneliness. And I'm sorry, because in general, I'm scatterbrained. I go everywhere, and that's why I got these notes to bring me back down to base level of trying to stay on topic. But there's so many benefits to sales, and I'll make a separate video for that. So yeah, chronic stress, longevity impact. Give me a second. Difficulty trusting others, right? If all you ever had is yourself, the main person you trust is probably you, you know? So isolation can foster some suspicion of other people's intentions, right? Increased vulnerability, reduced opportunities. Here's a huge negative right here of being lonely, right? Your opportunities to network. You don't know who's connected to who's a millionaire who could get you a job making 20,000 a month. And I know that the idea of 20,000, 30,000 a month sounds crazy. Somebody's doing it. But the thing is, if you isolate yourself, there could be some high-end opportunities. That's why they say your network is your net worth, you know? So if you don't network, your net worth is bound to be limited because you're not connected to anybody. And people get opportunities through connections, you know? Yeah, so, you know, these are some of the pros, some of the cons. So to reiterate with some of my own thoughts, right, outside of these notes, I would say, give me a second. I would say, pros. The good thing is you get to know yourself. That'd probably be my pro number one. You get to know who you are. You get to, it's good to know you. It's good to know who you are outside of a group. Some people never have that privilege because they identify with a group so much that it's almost like they physically feel pain not being in a group. You get to have if you're religious or whatever, or not even necessarily religious, if you have a relationship with God, you know, this is the opportune time for you to talk to him more, really process things, you know what I mean? But if there's one thing I would advise in general, for a number one skill, for things that you want to foster within yourself is curiosity, right? Curiosity. Broke people think everything is a scam, you know? And that's probably why they work 40 hours a week, but it's like that's a belief system that's been sold to you. But when you think everything is a scam, you don't investigate, you don't do research because you know it all. So I would advise you to foster up your curiosity so that you could grow as a person, so that when you have times of being alone, your curiosity is leading you to videos that are going to get you to develop yourself. Your curiosity is See, I had an immense amount of curiosity, and it benefited me in my times of loneliness or when I was alone. My alone time, how it was spent, because you got to understand, these women that I loved, when they told me about myself, traits that I had that were not admirable traits. I had a decision to make. Does it serve me to be this way, or should I be different than how I am? Like, how can I get desired outcomes from people, with people, right? Because if I have a great message inside of me and nobody likes me, no one's going to receive it. No one cares to hear a message from someone that they don't like, you know? So what are the traits of an admirable person? What are the traits of a likable person? I became obsessed with these traits and trying to see them in other people, and how can I incorporate them into myself? So when I was alone, this is how I spent my alone time, and this is how I grew as a person. I leveled up because of other people. Some people over-spiritualize stuff, and they say when you're lost, you got to seek within yourself to know the answer. I don't know what the hell that means, because every answer I ever got, it came outside of me. And some people are so hyper spiritual that they'd be like, look, the fact that you knew within yourself to go outside of yourself is something that came within you. And I'm like, bro, that sounds way too convoluted. I don't even know what the hell you just said. Like, you know what I mean? So I thank God that I had enough, the wherewithal, the know-withal to know that, yo, I'm suffering, and I know it's the mindset, and I don't know how to change my mindset, but I got to change what I listen to. And just started to binge watch motivational speakers. You know, those of you that know me personally know that I want to be a motivational speaker, you know. And I don't know if we should be hermits, though, in general, you know. So, like, if you were to ask me, would I advise someone to be alone for the rest of their life? You know, well, it depends on what you mean. Do you mean a person without friends, or do you mean a person that's not married, or do you mean a person that doesn't procreate and have children? It's like, you know, I would advise as many people as possible, like to have kids, have as many kids as you can. But number one, you know, when you read the Bible, God said to be fruitful and multiply. Obviously, that's not what we're doing nowadays. What we seem to be doing is counter to what God advised. He said, be fruitful and multiply. A lot of us are broke and not having kids. If you look at population, it's going down, you know, or the people that have kids, they're multiplying, but they're broke. And it's like, bro, he never said be broke and multiply. He said be fruitful and multiply. There's so many verses that advise wealth that you wouldn't believe, man. You know, the church be having us messed up thinking that money is inherently wrong, which I'm going to do a separate video about, you know, the blessings of money and how money is not a bad thing. Money is simply a certificate. It's proof. It's a certificate of service rendered. Sorry. I'll be forgetting some of the quotes I'll be writing down. So money is a certificate of service rendered, which simply means money is proof that you've been useful to someone outside of yourself. If you have a bank account of, let's say you got $100,000 saved, it takes a while to save $100,000, but your $100,000 bank account is proof that you've been of service to many other people outside of yourself, right? And I want to end this video because I'm at 16 minutes. Something insightful that might be useful to the listener and also to the person that commented. What constitutes a dysfunctional life, right? Some people might walk in the office of a clinician, of a therapist, and be like, yo, I'm depressed. And it's like, we have to break that down. What does that mean necessarily? Why are you depressed? And we have to go through a list, because the things that make up life is pretty much like 5 to 6 different things, right? 1, do you have a job? That's number 1. 2, do you have meaningful relationships? 3, you know, do you have people that care about you, that you talk to? Well, I guess that would constitute a meaningful relationship. You know, so anyways, 3, you know, do you have a wife and kids, you know, family? 4, like, do you have a sense of purpose that you're fulfilling, you know, that you're walking towards? Do you have goals? Goals could be tied in with purpose. 5, is there any spirituality, you know, like, do you go to church? Do you, you know, if you say, out of these 5 things, if you say no to at least 3 of them, maybe the reason that you feel depressed is because you don't have a functional life. Functional by the measures of what would constitute, I guess, a happy life, you know? Because if you had friends and meaningful relationships, and if you did go to church and you had, you know, spirituality, if you was getting grounded in that area, and if you had a job, you know, that you went to every day, because you got to understand, like, if you don't have a job, right, there's no reason for you to wake up at any certain time, and there's no reason for you to go to sleep at a certain time. So if you want to regulate your circadian rhythms, the best way to do that is to have a routine when it comes to your sleep and how you structure your sleep. It's best to go to sleep around the same time every day, right? So you can get into the routine. But with no job, there's no reason to do that. There's no reason to go to sleep. Therefore, there's no reason to wake up. Therefore, you might get to the point where you feel like extremely depressed and not know why, because you don't know what you exist for. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have a job, which means you're not bringing value to the marketplace, right? Because a lot of jobs, I know they might feel like remedial or useless, but it's like, you know, you'll at least feel better if you're not struggling with your basic necessities and you have some money in your pocket. You know what I mean? They say that money doesn't bring you happiness, but I mean, the absence of money, what does that bring you? I can't think of, like, you know, they say money won't bring you happiness. Being broke, does that bring you happiness? You know what I mean? Like, you're probably better off having money than not having it. So if you're lacking in these 5 main compartments, right, you could start to feel lonely. You could start to feel depressed. You could start to feel, you know, and if you were to have these components in your life working for you and working with you, then the more out of these five things, if you have four out of these five things, five out of these five things, the less likely you are to feel depressed or maybe even like lonely and stuff like that. So, and I understand, people could be unbearable. People can be, give me a second. People could be unreasonable, hard to deal with, stuff like that. If you learn how to have empathy, you'll be able to re-socialize yourself back into the group, right? So now let me give you tips and strategies to get back into the group. First of all, I know why people don't like groups if you choose to be a hermit and you choose to be alone, right? Because groups in general, you think about society. Society is pretty tyrannical, right? Society is always reminding you that you need to make adjustments and you need to modify yourself according to its standards. You don't have to hear that when you're alone, right? So I understand the allure of wanting to be alone is because you'll never have to hear that. You'll never have to hear how you're not good enough or how you need to make any adaptations at all. So that feels like a benefit to you. So now you withdraw within your reclusiveness and you stay there, and then you feel like, okay, this is where I want to be, right? And you can grow in isolation if you have enough wisdom to know where to find wisdom and to know that where you're severely lacking and how you could improve, right? If you have amazing self-awareness, and if you're very intuitive, inquisitive, if you ask good questions, it'll be a blessing for you to be alone, at least for a time period, so that you could grow. But I'm not so sure that it will be the blessing that it could be if you're delusional, if you lack self-awareness, if you have no idea what's wrong with you, if you think that you're extremely valuable, and let's talk about value, right? It's good to have high self-esteem. It's good to think that you're valuable, right? But if everybody cuts you off, if nobody wants to have a friendship with you, you might think it's because you're so unique that no one understands you, right? That's one take you could take. But another take is, what am I doing that people as a collective want nothing to do with me? And how can I improve upon that? It's good. These are so good questions to ask that I don't think many people ask themselves, because they're like, man, F you. If you don't want to accept me, whatever, I don't care. Like, usually seems to be the take of many people, or even the older generation. Think about them. Well, I don't care if you like me. This is not a popularity contest. I heard that a lot from my stepdad. Like, I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you like me. It's like, dude, like, do you know that if motherfuckers don't like you, the likeliness of your message being received is significantly lowered? Because think about when's the last time you listened to someone you dislike. We don't listen to people we dislike in general. So, like, I'm not saying life is a popularity contest or the ultimate goal in life should be to be liked. But what I am saying is, if you're extremely disliked, you could have a beautiful message you're conveying, and many people are going to reject it. So for the sake of increasing conversion rates, right? Because we all have ideas we want to get someone else on board with. And if you want to increase conversion rates, you got to learn how to speak to people. You got to learn sales. I'm telling you, it would increase every aspect of your life. I promise you. If you find a sales course, if you guys would like a recommendation on that, which I'm going to do a video on, SDR Whisperer Review, really good, really good. I spoke to the mentor today, the guy that made the course, and I'm learning so much. And I know I'm going to be connected to a $10,000 opportunity, $10,000 per month or more opportunity. I'm pretty sure in 2 months or less, maybe less than that. Who knows? Anyways, and I'll touch on that later. Anyways, so if you feel lonely, right? Or if you, let's talk about people that desire love. Maybe you desire love from a specific person and they don't give a damn about you. They don't care to love you or pay attention to you. Because a lot of times we seek love from a person that doesn't care to love us. And the people that are giving us love, we don't care to receive it from them, right? Growing up as a kid, it was always the fat chicks that loved me, man. I was like, the ugly chicks. I was like, damn, how come the fine chicks can't love me, And here's the answer to that, because I don't get to choose where love's going to come from. Love comes from wherever the hell it comes from. And here's an interesting scenario. Isn't it crazy that random people on Facebook support you and your own family don't give a damn that you have a dream? You might be questioning why that is. These might be the things that make you feel like lonely, because you really want support from who you think your support group is supposed to be. You don't get to choose your support group. You just get to put your message out into the world, and whoever it resonates with is going to resonate with, My brother might never support any of the things that I do or any of the things that I say. He wasn't really an encouraging person. I'm okay with that. I thank God that I never needed that. Some people might be reclusive and might be lonely because the people that they desperately want support from don't support them, and now they recluse themselves, and they're like, no one loves me, no one understands me, no one. I met a person who put out a YouTube video. Someone was shitting on his content, and he decided that he doesn't want to be a YouTuber anymore. And it's like, bro, like you're gonna be met with resistance. Everything, everything that you try to do, first of all, as soon as you intend to do something, disruption follows intention. Write that down. If you're still watching this video up to this point, disruption will always follow intention. Let me give you an example of that. As soon as you started to plant your garden, the busy bees and the obnoxious bugs are out to take your garden. And let me tell you something. They're going to take your garden if you don't have a weed whacker. If you don't have some type of formula that you put in the grass to prevent weeds from growing. If you don't have, like if you don't tend to your garden will be taken from you. As soon as you intend to plant your garden, there's something conspiring against you to take the garden away. This is the natural law of life. This is the same if you venture out on a business plan. This is the same if you venture out to be married. If you think your marriage is not going to come under attack by whatever the hell, like, like people conspiring against you or texting your wife and showing them, footage of you being somewhere that maybe you shouldn't have and from the past, but making it seem like it's current day footage, right? Like people conspire against people's marriages all the time. And I know that sounds crazy. I mean, I just made that scenario up, but I bet you this scenario exists somewhere in the world. Somewhere in the world there's a person conspiring to get someone divorced for whatever, who knows. Maybe they're lonely as hell, don't want to see nobody happy. So they take club footage of you when you used to be in the club 5 years ago before marriage, and they send it to your wife and they make it seem like it's modern day footage, and then they send other videos of you doing things before you were married, or who knows how they got the videos, I don't know, and, right, making it seem like these are things that you're currently doing. Now your wife is filing divorce papers against you, and why do these things, bro, I don't know why these things happen. I just know that disruption will always follow intention. I learned that from Myron Golden. As soon as you intend to plant a garden, the busy bugs and the obnoxious weeds are going to take it. I learned that from Jim Rohn. You know what I mean? So I know the things that I know because I'm always looking for wisdom. You know what I mean? And this is how I spent my time in isolation, was trying to be the best person I could possibly be. So my closing thoughts, I'm sorry, kind of scatterbrainy naturally in the way that I speak. You have to be high in openness to even like videos like this, right? Because for some people, this video won't be structured enough. You can't please all of the people. You could please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time, And if you're a people pleaser, that might be another reason why you isolate, because you realize it's damn near impossible to please people. The thing is, you probably want everyone to be pleased, or specific people to be pleased. I know a guy who, he makes rap music. His dad doesn't approve his music. He just wants him to get a job, and you gotta understand, if someone was born in the 50s and 60s, 70s, like that's all they know is go to college. So you might feel like my parents don't support me. No, they don't understand this whole rap thing. They don't. You want to be a YouTuber? They're like, what the hell does that mean? Go get a job, right? So it's like they don't know how to support you because they don't have the vision to see that. But if you have the vision, don't let someone's lack of vision stop you from trying. You know what I mean? Let them stay stuck in the past when a college degree actually meant something. That's all they know how to comprehend. Let them stay there. That's okay. You know what I mean? You don't have to be upset about that. And also don't be so gung-ho about getting specific people to support you. I know you want support from your mother, your father, your cousin, your nephew, your support, the people who you think hypothetically are supposed to be your support group. And I say supposed to with a, you know what I mean? With air quotes, because, as humans, we're nobody to decide how it's going to be. It's going to be how it is, And the way life works, people you met on PlayStation 5 will support you way more than your family ever will. And I have no idea why that is. If you allow that to bother you and draw you into isolation and not want to be around too many people because you're so heartbroken, you know what I mean? You can find joy in understanding that just venture out in the path anyways. But if you got to go alone, go alone. If you got to go with your random PS5 supporters, then go with them. If you got to go with the people you met on Nintendo Switch, but the point is just go, just move. Don't wait for certain people to be a cheerleader. Like you're waiting for certain people to pick up pom-poms and they never will. And that's okay. But don't let that be the excuse on why you failed and didn't become anything in your life. Because at the end of the day, when you stand before God, it'll be because you didn't take action, not because you didn't have support. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus, you look at the life of Jesus, like, If he waited for the type of things we be waiting for, he would have never became Jesus as we know him to be. If he needed emotional support, if he needed people to believe in him, if he was like, hey, I bless people and they only come back to me to get more blessings. They don't care about me. They don't genuinely love me. They don't. Yo, his days would have been up and down, up and so why was he emotionally stable, and why didn't he have up and down days? And why was why was the baseline of his mind state pretty much like stoic, and how was he able to maintain that? Here's why. I'll give you the formula to life. Because he was a purpose driven person, and he cared about one thing: what do I have to accomplish in this world before I leave, before I die? And that was the only thing that he allowed to hold value in his life, and the only thing that he focused on. And your mind is going to focus on something. It's going to focus on distractions, or it's going to focus on purpose. If you don't give your mind purpose, by default, it focuses on distractions. Let me give you a list of distractions that you're going to fall into just as other human beings do. You're going to focus on gossip, who said what about you, who's talking about you and how they need to stop talking about you, who's doing what, who's screwing who's making what amount of money, who's losing their job. You know what I mean? Things that happen in your local city. That type of stuff. You're going to get caught up in drama, arguing, or senseless debates about what, man? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we debate so intensely about a topic that probably doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? I was looking at my Facebook the other day, and I looked at an old argument that I had with somebody about ClickFunnels. Some people like Facebook ads. Some people want to run ads on YouTube, and some people, they like clicks. They like sending your offer. I forgot the name of it, but it was basically an argument of my method is better than yours. Your method is better than mine's, and it's like, bro, who cares? Who gives a damn? In 50 years, we'll all be dead, and it's like, how many of our conversations held any relevance, or how many of our actions and the things we do daily was leading to the end goal of us being successful? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll leave you with this. If you had 10 minutes left to live, what would matter to you? Please make a list of those things. If it would matter to you in your last 10 minutes, I'm convinced that it's something that actually matters. But if it wouldn't matter in your last 10 minutes, there's a good chance the thing that you're complaining about, bitching about, there's a good chance that it doesn't matter at all. In your last 10 minutes, it wouldn't matter if your wife is divorcing you, if she cheated on you, if she did this to you, if she did that to you, if someone's lying on you. These things matter, like, while we're alive, but would it matter if you had 10 minutes left, and that's how you quickly find out in the hierarchy of values what's ultimately important. For me, I'll tell you my list, and you're going to make up your own list, right? One, would God be proud of me? Am I going to heaven when I die? Did I accomplish what I'm supposed to on this earth? Did I have the impact that I'm supposed to have on this earth? Did I touch the lives that I'm supposed to touch? So I just listed like 5-6 things, but these are all interconnected. Because if I go to heaven, obviously God is proud of me. That's one of my things. I really want God to be proud of me. I don't think there's ever anyone that goes to heaven who God is unproud of. I doubt it. And if he's proud of you, obviously that means you completed your mission here on earth. And if you completed your mission, that means I'm guessing you had the impact you were supposed to have. And if you had the impact you were supposed to have, that means you maxed out your human potential. And if you maxed out your human potential, that means that you did what you were supposed to. You see how these things are 5, but yet they're 1? So the main thing is, like, is God like, life is like a written assignment that God is grading, I guess. And it's like, did I pass or did I not? And if I passed, everything else that I think is important that I just listed, it's an automatic pass. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like a car. Think about it. It could have the most amazing engine. Everything about the car could be amazing. But if you got a car sitting on no wheels, it's like, bro, you got to install the wheels. Everything else could be great, but that car is not taking off unless the 4 wheels are mounted and balanced. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, great engine, but where are the wheels? You know what I mean? So, and then the wheels are going to carry everything else. So, yeah, anyways, I hope this is helpful. At points in the video, I did go all over the place. I tried to bring it back down to the purpose of isolation, and if there's any, all the pros, all the cons, and my last closing thoughts, I encourage you to be part of a community, of like-minded thinkers at least, and if you're going to isolate yourself to be alone, I understand why you do that. Maybe you can't find nobody who's similar to you, right? Create some goals. And if you struggle with negative emotionality, you're going to feel positive emotionality as soon as you feel like you're actively making steps towards your goals being accomplished. Because feeling depressed is because you have goals, you have ideas, you have things you would like to do, but you feel like you're a million miles away from these things being accomplished. And in that place, you feel a sense of hopelessness. Like, what's the point of anything? Nihilistic, maybe even suicidal, don't want to live. Who knows, like, how you may be feeling. But I understand, you know, so as soon as you started creating a goal, and as soon as you make any inch of progress towards it, you will instantaneously feel positive emotions, because negative emotions is felt when the opposite is happening. When you have goals and you feel like they're a million miles away and you are incapable of achieving any of them, it makes you start questioning your worth. It makes you start being nihilistic, questioning the meaning of anything. Might even cause you to be lonely and start isolating and be by yourself. Because if you feel like what's the point in anything, you won't feel like there's a point in socializing. You won't feel like there is a point to socializing, right? You know, especially if you like personal growth, and you care about developing yourself, right? And the more you develop yourself, the more you care about being the best you possible, the more you'll be able to handle corrective feedback. You'll find yourself not getting offended, right? Because you're listening for value. You're not listening to be offended anymore, like a typical person. People are so offended, it's crazy, because that's how they listen. They listen through the screen of pain and offense, because they haven't isolated themselves to realize that that's where they're lacking in their life. They don't know how to listen to somebody objectively to see if they said anything valuable. I think about the people on Facebook. You read a post. Let's say I write out a paragraph and I said some life-changing, life-altering things, right? And maybe this, whatever I said, it got 200 likes, you know, and many comments. But there's always one damn idiot in there correcting my grammar and my spelling. And it's like, wow, dude, I said things that could probably even change your life. And all you noticed is that I'm grammatically incorrect in some certain places, and I could spell better in other places. You know what I mean? And people that get fixated on shit like that, those are the things that don't matter, right? They're incapable of pulling value from what was said. You know, they only notice the parts that annoyed them. You know, they don't know how to break things down into bullet points. Bullet point number 1, 2, 3, 4, and say, what are the key takeaways? What are the most important things that were said? It's almost like, you know, I might have cursed in this video at least once. There's people that if I send this video to them, as soon as the curse word happens, they turn off the video. And I said a lot of things that could help them in their current frame of mind and improve and get to the next level. But yet, oh, he cursed once, I'm turning off the video. I think it's sad and pathetic that people do that, but hey, that's just where they're at, you know? So I advise you to be part of a community. I advise you to get around like-minded people in general. This is my general advice for people. I advise you to be around people that are in alignment with where you're trying to go, and seek out mentorship, seek out wisdom. You don't know everything. Neither do I. I'm always trying to learn something from other people. I do advise to be alone for a season, you know? And I'm nobody to say how long that season should be. For me, it was years of isolation. I really got to know myself though. But you know, there's more times where I could have socialized, and I kind of miss, if I could go back, I would be more social, you know? But sometimes people are socially awkward. They don't know how to start a conversation. They're always met with rejection, right? So now, like, they start rationalizing being alone because they're like, yo, last time I tried to contact somebody 10, 20 times, 10, 20 different people, and it all led to rejection or people making you feel like, okay, why are you messaging me? You know? So when you feel like you're constantly being shot down, now you start rationalizing being alone because it's like, yo, every time I tried to socialize, I've been shot down. And now you start associating socializing with pain, because the pain of rejection, the pain of being shot down, the pain of, you know, but maybe you are socially awkward. Maybe you don't know how to convey your messages properly. Maybe you don't know how to, you know, and it's like, yo, watch videos on that, how to socialize properly. I know it sounds ridiculous. Watch more movies and see, the people you look up to. See how they're socializing, see how they're talking, see how they're speaking. If you lack in communication, listen to somebody talk. You'd be amazed how you become a better communicator hearing somebody talk. I used to binge watch Jordan Peterson lectures, you know, and that's how I got to learn how to speak better. You know, I was already good at speaking, but I got significantly better and I could still improve, you know what I mean? So in closing, isolate yourself for the time being, for a little bit, for the purpose of personal development. But learn how to be socialized by the group. You know, learn how to be alone and learn how to be in a group. You know, when you're in a group, you got to try to get to the point where you don't have so much anxiety that you want to run away from the group. And when you're alone, try not to have so much anxiety about people that you're forced to like stay alone, because there's benefits of both but I advise the group, being in the group overall. It's just good for you, you know. And you won't want to be in a group. Here are the things that are going to deter you from that. If you hate people, I love people. That's why I like coming around them. If you can't stand people, that's because you only see them for what's wrong with them. That's why you don't want to be around them. You see them for their flaws. You see them for what they could be doing better. You see them for how much they annoy you. These are the things that probably make you want to isolate. You see what the hell's wrong with society. Now, me and you, it's not like I can't see the same things. Society's pretty twisted. But I love people in spite of what's wrong with them. Because I know that when it comes to planet Earth, most people came here manifesting their mediocrity. And they're not even a fraction. They're not even 1/4 of who they could be if they actually tried. So when the low version of somebody is affecting me negatively, I don't even accept that as who they actually are. And I'm going to try to call them out and call them to a higher being, to a higher potential, because they're not that. That's what they choose to be. That's how they're utilizing their free will. But you can't tell me that that's who God created them to be. You know what I'm saying? You think about Nazi Germany. You think about, World War I and people that were oppressing nations like Mao in China. And you think about Stalin. You can't tell me that these mass murderers were meant to be that. You can't tell me that Jeffrey Dahmer was meant to be that, what he became. He has free will and he chose to be that. Obviously, that's what he chose. But you can't tell me that he was created to be that, you know? So, I don't know. The way that I move, I'm always trying to encourage people to be more than what they are. And if you give me less than what you could be, I just don't accept that from you. Not in the sense where I got to cut you off because you're such a threat to my personal peace that I got to run away from you. Some people think that protecting your peace is running. I'm going to do a separate video on that. I think protecting your peace is when you get so solidified within yourself that no matter how they're acting, it doesn't impose on you negatively in any way, and you don't have to run away. Now, I do believe in curating the group that you spend the most time with, because you don't want to spend the most time with people that you don't wish to be like. That'd be a waste of your time. But it is possible to fortify yourself so much that when certain personality types come around you that you prefer not to be around, you don't have this impulsiveness to want to run away, and don't think that protecting your peace is running, because it's not. You got to ask yourself, why is everybody such a threat to your peace that you always have to run, and how much peace do you have if it could easily be stolen from you, and someone enters the room and now you feel like you have to exit because you can't stand them, and you think that you're protecting your peace because you're leaving the room. And it's like, bro, maybe you don't have peace because someone walked in and they're indirectly forcing you to walk out. How is your peace protected? Your peace is always being imposed upon by others, and other people, it's like they have, it's like you're a puppet, and everyone's manipulating you with puppet strings and making you do things that they otherwise wouldn't if it wasn't for their presence, if it wasn't for their energy, because you have a low tolerance for stuff. And you have a low tolerance for stuff because you can't stand people, and you can't stand people because you only see them for what they do wrong, and you can't see them for more. You can't see them for what they were created to be. You can't see them the way God sees them, because trust me, those people, they drive you up a wall, but they're not driving God up a wall. Why? Because there's a disconnect between how you see them and how God sees them. God sees them for what they could be if they gave themselves to their potential and they tried to live up to something higher, right? That's what God sees them for. You only see them for the mistakes they made and how incompetent they are and how much they suck currently, and that's why they bother you so much, But they would bother you less if you saw them for more than what they currently are. And ask God to bestow that gift upon you, man. Because you start seeing people for what they could be, people won't annoy you so much. And when they don't annoy you so much, you won't feel the need to isolate and be lonely and be alone all the time and be in hermit mode constantly. Because we run from society because we can't stand it, So yeah, and it's going to affect you negatively in so many ways. If you start a business, how can you show up in your most authentic self to serve people that you barely could stand? You won't be able to service them properly. You won't care about their needs, about their wants. I'm taking time out of my day to respond to an inquiry where I prompted you to say, hey, let me know what you need. Maybe I can make a video specifically for you. You know what I mean? So the retention value of this one potential subscriber, it's like, they're going to want to watch more of my videos. And I should make a habit of doing this, interacting with people and say, hey, how can I serve you? I'm doing this because I care about people. I want to know, what video would you like me to produce? Maybe you have questions about life and maybe I can answer them. I don't know everything, but I know a couple things. And maybe the things that I know could be useful to you. You know what I mean? So, I just like the idea of building a community, coming around people. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if I would make this video if I didn't like people as much as you know what I mean? You probably, yo, when you read my response and you was like, yo, this dude really wants me to prompt him to make a video about something I care about. You know what I mean? That level of detail of saying, yo, you matter too, man. Like, you know, I may not know you personally, but you're a human being. You know, if you're going through anything personally, like, I don't want you to suffer. You know what I'm saying? I know the vantage point of most people is like, well, if you ain't my brother, if you ain't my sister, the hell with you. I don't know you. It doesn't bother me if you're suffering. And it's like, nah, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So if I could help someone suffer less, it's a joy to me, man. So yeah, you know, it's an honor to film this video, and I hope that I get many opportunities to film something for somebody, you know. So anyways, to anyone who may be watching this on the replay, if this was valuable to you, please send it to somebody. If you would like to share, you know, share it. If it helped you, store it. And create a personal development playlist and add videos to that playlist to make you a better person, and start looking up content that makes you better. If you argue with women and that's a problem to you, how to argue with women less, type that in the YouTube section. Binge watch videos on that. Read articles about it. You know, type in chat GBT. Yo, I'm a male. I'm always arguing with females. Why is that? Give me 20 ways to avoid arguing with a female, and give me 20 things, words or things that guys do that may be triggering to women. I don't know. Like, you want to improve the quality of your relationships with women, but you don't look up how to speak to them better. You don't look up how to talk to them. You don't look up how to, you know, allure them. What are they interested in as a whole? Like, you got to try to get to know women as a collective, right? Because yes, humans are individuals, right? But there's things that we do as a collective. There's things that are universally distasteful. There's things that are universally alluring. And there's things that universally will make you a person that people want to be around. And there's also character traits that are universally disliked, to the point that if you possess those traits, people will run away from you. And you're going to personalize it and think that the world has a vendetta against you. But you got to understand, the world is a good chance that the way you're getting treated in this world, anyone who has your personality type, they're probably getting treated in a similar fashion to you. You know what I mean? Like, when I was a loser, when I was lame, when I used to say certain things to trigger people, anyone who said words in the ways that I used to say them and the words that I used to say, they were susceptible to getting treated and getting the backlash in the same way that I would get it. I'm no different. You know what I mean? And yeah, Cain and Abel's story, I'd like to end on this. I wanted to end 15 minutes ago, but I'll be going on super rants. It's always a Cain and Abel story, you know? Abel is the person who has been doing so well in his life, and he's being rewarded by God, being praised. People love him. Abel is the person who's doing super well. Cain is the person who's bitter and jealous and slays his own brother because he can't stand the fact that someone's doing better than him, right? So there's always the person doing progressively well. There's always people trying to tear that down. You see it now in America with the 1% versus the 99%. All the peasants at the bottom are so mad at the 5%, 10%, 15%. Never asking themselves, what can I do to be more qualified? What can I do to get amongst the top 1% income earners? Because let me tell you something, you know, like J. Cole says, if you broke and clowning a millionaire, the joke is on you. You know what I mean? If you're broke and clowning and you choose to clown a millionaire, the real joke is on you, you know? So, not that money is everything, but trust me when I tell you, you'd be more useful to your community, to your mother, to everybody. You'd be able to help so many more people if you were rich. And yes, if you were to tell me there's a lot of evil people with money, you are correct. But damn, I wish there was more righteous millionaires. And if you feel like you're a good person, and most people, if you ask them, they think they're a good person. So it's like, you know, what makes you think if you get rich, you will become evil? You already think you're a good person. A lot of people think that about themselves, but yet they have no desire to be a millionaire. And they don't realize that whatever good they think they have, if they had millions, it would only amplify their goodness. If you're naturally a charitable person who loves giving donations and loves cash apping, there's people that love cash apping people randomly, 2,000, 5,000. They get a joy out of that. I know a lot of us can't conceptualize that. Obviously, if you could comfortably send a $5,000 cash app to somebody, you're doing well for yourself. If you could do that and it doesn't impede on what you got going on, and you could still pay off your basic bills, and if you could do that 4 times a month, 5 times a month, that's $20,000 a month in donations. Yeah, you're doing pretty well, you know, and there's people that get off on that. They have a joy from that, but they became so valuable, and then they became valuable to other people around them, you know. And there's a verse in the Bible that says a good man leaves an inheritance to his family. I know you might be thinking at this point like, oh, you can't take it with you when you die. You're right. That's why you leave an inheritance, That's why you pass it along to other people. The point of you becoming a millionaire, it's never about you. It's always about your community. I personally want to be a millionaire, not for vanity metrics and not to show off and get a Lamborghini. I want to be a millionaire because I have a fucking family to feed. I have a village to go take care of. And this is what incentivizes me to want to get rich personally, you know? So, yeah, isolate yourself to learn the things you need to learn and binge watch the content that's going to make you better. And then learn how to be accepted by the group. If you're always getting rejected, learn how to communicate, become articulate. Learn how to be mindful of what you say and the impact that your words are having on other people. I know sometimes people isolate because they can't stand people because they always have repeated interactions that are negative. But maybe it's you, maybe it's them. But I would always start with you and assume that it's you so that you could amend your own errors and become a better version of yourself. I always think that it's me even when it's not because I like to start there because I could work on me. I can't work on you and develop you, but I could work on me and develop me. You know, so be all that you can be, man. And that's my word of encouragement to whoever might hear this on a replay. I hope this was useful. I hope you got something out of this. And I hope you watch it all the way through. This is a 50-minute video, but I hope it serves you at a very high level. I'm interested also if you have any other video prompts, let me know, man. And I'll make another video about that. Maybe if not tonight, tomorrow. I gotcha. Yep. Take care, man. See you guys on the next one.